I'm Alex Majamanda, and here in Malawi I live in Salima.
Darlington Nakutepa. Right now I am repairing gadgets like cell phones, laptops.
My name is Sarah Lungu. Originally I was born in Zimbabwe, but I'm staying here in Malawi, Lilongwe. I was working at the ShopRite in Blantyre before, then when I was in Blantyre. So when I come here in Lilongwe, I started working at Sana. I was a shop manager.
Peter Kamwendo. I am a security officer at G4S Security Solutions.
My name is Dennis Chintenga. My original home, I'm coming from in Zomba. I'm selling kitchen materials like pots, plates, and spoons.
I was religious. I was a secretary in the Church of Central African Presbyterian, Women's League, and I was also a choir member there.
My former religion was Zambezi Evangelical Church. I was so religious. I was even given an office of secretary for the church.
I grew up in a Christian family. They raised us up in a Christian way. I was the chairperson for the youth.
I was a member of Lutheran Church.
I was a pastor in the Mormons for 2 years. I was different in preaching because most of my friends, they were preaching directly from the Mormons. They call it D&C, Doctrine and the Covenant. So when I was preaching, most of the times I was referring to the Bible.
There we believe that we were believing in Trinity.
Father, the Holy Spirit, the Son.
We believe in the baptism of water at the head, and also there were baptized the children that we were believed.
During my time as an evangelist, there were questions that I had. Why other churches are preaching about Trinity? But I cannot find it when I studied the Bible.
In those times, I believed that it is a true church.
As a member of the Lutheran Church before, I don't know about the Iglesia ni Cristo.
When I was there in the old church, there's no one who was telling about the truth church.
I think when the church was just beginning here, my friend told me that there is a Church of Christ, Iglesia ni Cristo, that has just come here in Malawi. So he invited me to go and just to listen to their teachings there. So I went there just to listen to some of their teachings there.
I was staying here in Kauma, so my friend is the one who first joined the Iglesia ni Cristo in Area 10. She's the one who talked me about the Iglesia ni Cristo. Then I went there on 7 May 2019.
I had a friend, he came to my house and he told me that, okay, my friend, we meet there. You can come with us. There's a Bible study. I didn't even go the day he told me. I went the next week to know why this friend, because he came to my house twice. So when I went there for the first day, okay, I was introduced to the doctrine of the church. And later on, we are given time to ask questions. We asked the questions as much as we could to know the church. So they say, no, don't go far with your questions. You'll be answered as we read the lessons.
I had a certain friend who just invited me here. Just say, just come here. So he started Bible study before I even started Bible study in the Church of Christ. So he invited me. So I had to come to see what is really happening, because I'm not a person that usually gets carried away by anything. I have to be sure that what I'm entering is the truth.
As a businessman, when I was chatting with my friend, one of them told me about the Iglesia ni Cristo. He said that in Area 10, they are doing Bible study there. So if we can go there and learn more about the church. I was hungry to learn about this church, just because in my former church, we are not learning more about the salvation. So I was sick about the salvation.
When I heard the teachings in the Iglesia ni Cristo, I was wondering how they were preaching. They were teaching us so many chapters in the Bible. The first thing I learned about it was one true God.
So when they taught us about that there is only one God, who is the God the Father in heaven, and Jesus Christ is the Son, they come to realize that, oh, I was just being deceived by those former leaders of our former religion.
I didn't know that there must be a messenger who is sent to preach the gospel. After hearing the Bible studies, I became interested. Maybe I think my questions will be answered here. Ministers are like I find them like they're my close brothers, because I haven't found anyone like them. Because they are very friendly. They are concerned about the situation that you are going through. They are also willing to help if there is a need to help. So I can say they are very friendly, they are very loving, and they make you to feel at home.
I understand the one who was teaching Bible was Brother Lextra. I was touched because he was of course, we're different in the color, in the skin. But he was concerned about whatever we asked, whatever we wanted to know. He was somehow attached. So I said, okay, this is really a brother.
The first time I went there to listen to it, I even liked it in the very first day, because of the love of the ministers that they showed to me. Because the ministers that time, when I joined, they were so lovely and so friendly. It's like they are brothers to us. There is no difference that they are from Philippines or they are coming from America. But when we are in the church, we are all like brothers and sisters. So that's the most thing also I like.
I found them that they are well organized, very kind. They love us very much. They were taking care of us.
During the Bible studies, after we are done with the Bible studies, usually the ministers will ask us questions. Does anyone have a question? So I was one asking the ministers questions. So upon asking the questions, they could answer from the Bible, from the verses from the Bible. So I said, no, this is different.
The minister that time, Brother Lexter, was answering the questions with the confidence and referring to the verses in the Bible, not from his heart. So I said, okay, maybe he's not just speculation, he's saying the truth from the Bible. This is what I wanted. So I was really convinced.
When they were preaching, I was very excited to hear from them, from the Bible, because they were using the Bible. When we asked for questions, the answers were coming from the Bible.
Usually, in our former churches and other churches, they don't go directly to the Bible. They answer according to their opinions. They just maybe read one verse and they'll answer according to their understanding. So I realized that no, maybe some of these pastors, these other churches, they're just adding because maybe they have experience.
The very significant differences I observed was that, like as I've said, I can say in the Mormons, they add on the words of the God, which say we should not add, we should not subtract. So we were just as if we are loaded with which is not in the Bible.
Before, we were having one preacher. So he was preaching one verse, then he was preaching about himself.
Every question that I had in my mind that time, it was being answered. So I was interested, how come the the ministers, they know even every question that I'm asking, they are able to answer without any doubt, without any hesitation. I was in so much interested. I wanted to find out what is really happening inside this church. That's why I made the decision from that time. No one forced me and said, no, you should come, just join, because you receive this, you receive it. No. But I made my own decision that I'll forever be in the Church of Christ, no matter what I face in this life.
The Bible is very important. Very, very important, because everything, according to whatever we do, is in the Bible. It teaches everything. The life to come, even the life we are. It is in the Bible.
Yes, I found out that the church is not a Chinese church, it's not a Filipino church. It's a global church. It's a church that is all over the world. So I was so excited because I also went there with the basugos. I could check the basugos. I saw the pictures of the black, almost the races, they were there. So I became interested, said, no, this is the place where I have to stay. This is the church that I have to dedicate myself and to serve. My turning point is there were, I can say, 3 lessons. Lesson about the messenger, lesson about the true God, and the lesson about the church in the Philippines. Those are the turning point that I made a decision that I will not go back to any other church anymore. I'll settle here because I have been in many churches, maybe I have attended many churches, but yet I was not satisfied. But when I entered this church and listened to the teachings inside the church, they answered all my questions and I was assured that I'm in the right path.
My turning point to join the church, it was because I heard about the teachings so that I can receive salvation.
My turning point to join a Christian in Christo is when I started to learn the Bible study in the Christian in Christo, and I find the truth there, and I expect that we are going to salvation.
My turning point in joining the Church of Christ came to me when I realized the truth in the Church of Christ. So I said, okay, if I want to worship our Lord God, if I want to serve Him, this is the church.
My turning point, it was when the minister told me the history of the church, about how Brother Felix Y. Manaro did his work when he was just alone, when starting the preaching about the gospel. I was like getting maybe persecuted with the neighbors, but with my wife, she understood very well about it. And I think it was just 2 weeks when I started going to the Bible studies, and I also invited my wife, so we were going there together. But the neighbors were just talking maybe different issues because it's a new thing here in Malawi, so they were thinking that maybe it might be having some agendas. But by now, most of the people here now, they understand what the Iglesia ni Cristo is all about.
When I joined the Church of Christ, my relatives, my friends, my family was not happy. They were mocking me. My friends were saying, don't join that church, those are the Filipinos. They were saying bad to me. But for me, I didn't hear from them because my focus was on the teachings, because I'm going to receive my salvation, not with them.
My friends and my relatives, they said that the Filipino, they just want to cheating you, because every church in Malawi, we are going to praise God and we are going to salvation in the judgment day. I said to them that that is not true, but because I have learned the true doctrine here in Iglesia ni Cristo.
When I decided to join the Church of Christ, not necessarily the members, but my fellow pastors, they were laughing at me. They said, oh, why? The members were saying something bad. They said, okay, this is my decision. So they were laughing. They were saying all sorts of things. They were saying bad things of the church. So the bad things they're talking about the church, they were just speculations. The things which I don't see in the church. So I said, okay, I just ignored them.
My mother and my father, somehow they are supported. But those relatives from here in Lilongwe, they used to say, you are entering the church of the Chinese church. You don't know where these people are coming from. How come are you trusting them with your life? I said, no. What is being preached there is purely the word of God. So you cannot change me because I have already made a decision. If you can have a chance just to go there and listen, I hope that you will change your mentality on your perspective about this church.
Despite whatever I went through, persecutions and like, I didn't even like to go back, because I said, okay, if I go back to Mormons or to any other church, what type of teaching will I receive there? I wanted the teaching of this type. So where can I go? I really felt the love of God that I'm called to serve in the church. I really feel in my heart, from deep in my heart. So that's why I didn't even change my mind.
I was baptized on September 27, 2019.
20th January in the year 2020.
7th September 2019.
That day I cried with joy because I waited for that day for a long time. I was very, very happy. We are converted and started continuing with the true church, leaving all the false religions behind and started focusing on the true church and with the true teachings.
I couldn't believe it because I imagined myself, now finally I'll be a full-fledged member of the Church of Christ.
I was have tears of fun on that day just because I'm very happy. Now I'm a member of the Iglesia ni Cristo.
I was very happy and I was very proud. When I was baptized that day, I was crying because of the happiness that I have found the true God now.
We were baptized, and that time that was the best day in my life, because it's now when I said, okay, now I have reached the place I wanted.
The Iglesia Cristo has really changed me to be a better version of myself. Now I learn how to worship properly. I learn the values of life. There are so many things, aspects of my life that have been changed because of the Church of Christ, because of the teaching that I've been taught inside this church. So really, it has changed me a lot.
Before, I used to drink because I didn't know the truth. But when I learned the truth in the Iglesia ni Cristo, after baptism, I'll never go back to the bad things. The Iglesia ni Cristo has changed me to the best.
Before, when we were in that former religion, maybe we used to have some disagreements. Mostly we used to have some quarrels and the like. But after joining the Church of Christ, it's like we are moving together. Always we are loving each other, we are doing all things together. When we are going to the worship, we are coming to the worship together, doing the church activities together. So it's like our love has been increased with the joining of the church, because it's like we are living a new life. We are more peaceful than ever.
In the past, I didn't know how to pray. But now I pray every time. When I'm inside the worship service, I'm praying, God is answering me. A prayer is important to me because when you pray, God answers. I was telling myself that from now on, I'll stand firm and my faith will be strong so that I cannot give up. Even more, I've found some challenges, but I stand firm with my faith in the Church of Christ.
A lot of changes are made when I become a member of the church. One of which is that I'm serving in the church, but we are also being preached at least 2 times a week. We always receive the words of God, which are very much encouraging us in our day-to-day life. And most importantly, now, even my fellow pastors, even my fellow members in the Mormons, when I can meet them, they can see that spiritually, there's a change in me.
Being in the Church of Christ, when we enter into the worship service, we hear about the teachings that make us strong, so that even we are facing so many difficulties in this world, but the Church of Christ always giving us strength so that we can be strong in our faith.
We had the hope. I was very confident that during the pandemic, it was only God who can help us. And He did it. And He is still doing it because we are still receiving the words of God.
I invite you, Malawians,
Former fellow pastors and even members of the church,
Come, observe, and study first the doctrine of the Church of Christ. I think you will choose that this is the true church.
Just come, listen to the teachings. It's your decision to make that decision to join the church. But upon listening to the teaching, I can assure you that you will change your mind and you find this place your home.
it is important for people to know the Church of Christ.
Because this is the true church.
We serve the true God in the church, and when we serve the true God in the church, we are very confident that whatever may come, we will receive salvation.